Hey everybody, welcome back to another one of my PGA model breakdowns here for Awesemo.com. Of course, you can find my model each and every week as part of the AwesemoPlus.com membership. Great time now to join join and become an Awesemo Plus member if you aren't already, using promo code Schwab for 20% off your PGA annual pass. And with the Masters coming up in November and the US Open in September, plenty of time to use that. We're going to have golf almost every single week up until the turn of the new year when they start their new season again, except for Christmas. I mean, maybe there's 2 weeks there and 1 week at Thanksgiving, but we have got a ton of golf coming up, so use the promo code Schwab to get 20% off of that annual pass. But here is the model breakdown. This is going to be part 1 of 2 this week, as I'm going to go into my Fantasy Cruncher settings and how I use it in part 2. In part 1, though, we're just going to go quickly run through my model. All right, so when you download my model, of course, Awesemo Plus members get to download my model. When they do, this is how it opens up. Full model is on the front. We'll go quickly left to right. As you can see, I start with OWGR. Then I have the 2 model ranks, the model, base one, and then the make your own model rank. We'll get into that in just a minute. Of course, then we go odds and salary informations. We've got my ownership. We've got Awesemo's ownership in there. We got strokes gained for this year and last year. We've got some top correlated non-strokes gained stats. This week I'm using greens in regulation, proximity to the hole, scrambling, and around the green proximity as my 4 other top correlated non-strokes gained stats. And of course, 2020 approach proximity numbers from specific data sets. Then the recent form, which I guess isn't very recent, but I have put the last 6 PGA Tour tournaments in there. Then course history. And lastly, followed by DraftKings points and field rank through the Tournament of Champions. So really cool to see. Yes, Rory McIlroy may have only scored 75 points at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, but he finished 6th in total points scored. So just something to keep a note on there. And that goes all the way across. Okay, so now we go down to the bottom. And this week, DraftKings has introduced tiers again. So I've quickly put the tiers of each player and what their model rating is, so you can kind of compare and contrast that way. Then I've got the combined models for Fantasy Cruncher, and this is important for part 2 of this. I'll go into much more detail of what I'm doing here, but you can kind of see I've taken my base model, the make your own model rank, Awesemo's projections, and I've averaged the 3. Next is my weekly cheat sheet. This is just a quick tidbit of information that you can go and click on each golfer in the field and see how they've been doing recently, what their course history is, what their DraftKings points is, and so on and so forth. This next one is the strokes database, strokes gained database, where you can come, you can click on a guy, sure, Jordan Spieth, why not? And find exactly what he's done in every single start, dating all the way back to the waste management of last year, not this year, last year. So lots of data in there, plenty of opportunity. And of course, I have my little screener over here, and then of course the max and the mins. So definitely a good piece of information to go. The algo points is just the base rating model. That's where you come and see the points. The next one is the important one that I talked about at the top, the make your own model. So as you can see, I have different parameters in which a player can accumulate my projected points through odds, yearly strokes gained, other statistical measures, approach proximity, OWGR, recent form, course history, and DraftKings points. All of those total up to the number in which I get my projection or rating. You have the ability to come and change that. Let's say you don't care about odds. Let's say you only care about yearly strokes gained. You can go and do that. The nice thing is that you can really put any number you want in here. The rating is going to come out based off of how much input you give it. So if you want to have 61 be the top points of Rory McIlroy, you can. If you want to change that and have it be, have it obviously go up, then you'll be able to do that. It looks like I have to add in my formula here. Apologize. There we go. So again, all of what you want to do with this, you can change it. You can, again, watch this. I can change it back to 0, and it'll change those numbers over there. You can change it to 100, can change it to 50. Again, just to play with it, just to see what each golfer excels at in terms of their rating and points and what you find important to you. This is all of what you can do. Then, of course, I have each individual category listed here below. So OWGR, odds, strokes gained rank by the field, other stat ranks, approach product. I mean, go back to other stat ranks. This is where I put in all of the stats that I follow. So a lot of them, I think I got at least 15 or 20 different ones in there. Approach proximity from 2 years. Then, of course, I go into recent form here. 10 weeks is what you're going to get on this. And then the sheet of course history, you're going to get 5 years. Followed by the DraftKings points database. This is a good one, an important one. It's going to show you, as I scroll over the left, it's going to give you all the way. It's going to give you, let's say, about 6 tournaments. Okay? But if you scroll over to the right-hand side here, it's going to give you every single tournament up until last year's Memorial. So over a year's worth of DraftKings points data in here of all the points that a player has scored in this tournament. So a really useful tool. And then last but not least, we've got my ownership projection model where I give you every single one of their ownerships up to last year's RBC Heritage. So a ton of data. This is how I project my ownership each week. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's not great. I also throw in Osmos on here as well, as they have been some of the best, and then I go for an average of them. So, last thing that I want to bring up is, of course, I also break it into each pricing category, my 4 unique pricing categories, to just see in each one where guys are going to be owned, what their rating is, who they're going up against, and so on and so forth. So a lot of data in here, a lot of things that can be used, sometimes maybe too much information, or sometimes just the right amount. So before I go, I always like to give away what my base rating model has ranked number 1 through number 5, and then I like to go into the make your own model. So hopefully I didn't freeze here. All I did was try and sort it. There we go. Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Patrick Reed, and Justin Thomas end up in the top 5. Maybe the highest value here, Abraham Answer, 7,300 is ranked, looks like number 13, being the best value under 8K. And when we switch to the make your own model rank, let's see what we got here. I don't think Matthew Fitzpatrick is the right one. I think, yeah, okay, let's just do this really quick. Sorry, I must have dragged the formula down. I apologize. I just noticed that. Oh, I'm sorry. Bear with me here, folks. There we go. Okay. So Matthew Fitzpatrick looks like he's not too far down, right around Abraham Answer area. But Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, Jon Rahm, Patrick Reed, and Justin Thomas. So incredibly this week, where it doesn't normally happen, top 5 are the same on both. Whereas Gary Woodland is the biggest and first mover. He goes from 12 in the model rank to 6th in the make your own model. Again, Abraham Answer here is the best value, followed by Homa, Victor Perez, and Matt Wallace to round out the values that are under 7,500. So hopefully you can glean a little bit something from my model breakdown here. Again, you can take this information, download it to Excel, and do anything you want to it. I don't, it doesn't change what's going on my end, so I don't care what you do with it. So if you're interested in the Fantasy Cruncher tutorial, it's going to be in my PGA model breakdown part 2 coming up right after this, where I take all that information, import it into Fantasy Cruncher, and make lineups. So until then, again, check that out coming up soon. And of course, we've got Ben Raz and I on the airwaves, 8:30 tonight, going over all of this and more. So until then, everybody, hope you enjoyed this and got something from it, and we'll see you on the other side. Cheers.